Well, I'm hunting for crane flies. They're long-legged flies. Some people think they're mosquito catchers and things like that, but they're a harmless fly with many species around the world. And so that's my specialty, something I've specialized in my career, and that's what I'm searching for here. Well, we're in the tropics. Crane flies are very diverse in tropical regions, so I expect to find many species of many groups, and so far that's what I am finding. Well, there are certain special places that a crane fly likes to hang out. They tend to, during the day, like dark or shaded or moist areas. So you'll often find me with a net collecting along a stream or in a cut bank or a shaded area of a tree in vegetation. Those are the kind of places they like to hang out. There are very few that you would find out in an open sunny area, at least here in the tropical regions. In other parts of the world, there are many species in open areas, but in general, they like it moist and they like it shaded. Well, if I'm looking for adults, and that's the stage we're most able to put a species identification on. So if I'm looking for the adult flies, I generally carry a net, a bug net, butterfly net, and I sweep the vegetation and then look inside the net and see if there are any crane flies in there. Sometimes I will disturb them and I'll see them fly off, and so I'll sweep the net and take them as they're in flight. If I'm looking for larvae, then I will be in the stream, looking in various parts of the stream, under the rocks, where the leaves pack in a stream, or on the edges of a stream, or in the soil, usually forest soil, moist areas, places like that. Well, the species identifications for crane flies are primarily based on the adults, and mostly are based on the male stage. So we'll look at the wings, and the wings have characteristic venation for the different groups of crane flies. The head offers characters like the shape and structure of the antennae, and then the color pattern on the body. Some crane flies are brightly marked with orange and black and banding on the legs and things like that. And then we go to the tail end, the genitalia, and that is often very specific, usually very specific to each species. And so that's an important diagnostic set of structures there. So we will look at those. I'm most likely to find crane flies. The most species would be in the tropical regions of the world, and that's also where we know the littlest about the species of crane flies. So we only can estimate how many species are in those areas, and it's probably not a very good estimate because we're finding so many species that are undescribed, that is unknown to science. Nobody's studied them before, nobody's given them a name, and so that's where the vast majority of what we would call new species or undiscovered species lie right now. And that's all the tropical regions of the world, not just, say, in Central or South America, but also in Asia and in the African tropics as well. Well, crane fly adults, they usually have a pretty short lifespan, so they are basically emerge, and their function is to find a mate and then the female to lay her eggs. So they might live a few days to a couple weeks maybe at the most. So they don't necessarily have a very complex behavior. One thing that I pay attention to is the way they rest on leaves, where they hang out basically in the environment, because some of them are very specialized. So here where we're working right now in Costa Rica, there are species that are only found in really dark, recessed type areas, and if you want to find them, that's where you're going to find them, and they're hanging and actually kind of bobbing back and forth or weaving back and forth as they hang, and that's a pretty neat kind of behavior. Others do resemble other insects. Particularly there's a number of them that are colored like wasps and appear to be wasp mimics, and so that's the kind of behavior that I would be interested in too, is how they actually, are they just looking like a wasp, or are they actually flying or behaving, say on a leaf or something as a wasp, and maybe gaining some protection from that. Well, these flies make up a substantial portion of our biodiversity on this earth. They do many different things. On crane flies in particular, since that's the group that I study, they are very important in aquatic systems. Many of them function as what we call detritivores. They feed on decaying vegetation. And some of those species in streams actually, by breaking up the leaf material, make it available to other stream organisms. So they're very important, maybe a keystone group of species in that sense. Others that live in the soil are also, many of them are detritivores, some of them are operating as predators. But here in the tropics, we know almost nothing about what these groups of these particular, in this case, the crane flies are doing. There's very little studies on them. There's probably some really surprising discoveries to be made in their biology. There's one group that we've collected here tonight and last night. This genus is known pretty poorly, but is known to inhabit tree holes that hold water in tropical forests. And one record noted that these larvae fed on mosquitoes, but there hasn't been much done on the biology of these things. But maybe there's an important mosquito predator once we're able to figure those type of biologies out.